Okay, before we get into the actual speed build and, the speeding building starts happening, I wanted to give a couple disclaimers. Number one, that I have never made a video like this before, so I don't know the generally accepted tricks and tips. I go a little crazy with the camera in The Sims 4. I don't know if that's chill with you guys or not, so let me know if it is. As well, I don't have The Sims 2 installed on my computer anymore. Disk drives are a endangered species nowadays, it feels like, and I don't have one on my laptop. I would have to download the game and I don't have enough space. So while I have played The Sims 2, I'm not a loser. The only thing I had to reference for making this build was pictures that I could find online that people had taken, as well as YouTube videos of people either remodeling it themselves or doing gameplay. So if it's not perfect, that's why, and to a certain extent, I kind of just decided I don't care. The main reference pictures I used, I'm going to put on the screen, so if I do something massively weird and you're like, I have The Sims 2 open in front of me and this isn't what the house looks like, you can blame these pictures. This is what I was going off of. I actually made this build because I have a machinima I want to make that requires, I have a machinima I want to make where the idea is that it's about the lore and the characters in Sims 2. I've actually already made a TikTok about that with Bella Goth that was very popular, so I assume this is what the people like. I built Don Lothario's house for that, which I'm going to do a tour of. I don't have the speed build, but I can do a tour because I do think it came out pretty good. And I thought, well, I'm building this for this machinima, so I might as well, upload, do a speed build of it. I have no reason not to. You'll also notice as you're watching that I don't know any of the tips or tricks on how to be quick in building. I don't use any of the shortcuts. You watched me struggle with the fences and the walls earlier. You're watching me struggle with the foundation here. I'm not perfect. I plan on making more build videos, so I would like to get better. But in this one, just point and laugh, okay? Just accept it as part of the viewing experience. One thing I will note, Sims 4 color palette is so different from the Sims 2 color palette. Picking any of this kind of stuff was impossible, and I know because it was like this in my head too. When you picture the goth house from the Sims 2, you probably think that it's black. I maintain in my heart, in my soul, in my truth, it's not black. It's like a warm gray brick, I think. And there wasn't really any equivalent to that in The Sims, so I went with this. The stairs are bright red. No idea what that's made of. There were so many more cool windows and doors and furniture and just stuff in The Sims 2. So these super boring windows and that boring door, it was as close as I could come. Because in The Sims 2, the door has like the cool art stained glass on it. If that door exists in a pack, it's a pack that I don't have. And while you will see a lot of custom content windows in my game bar, whatever, I don't use any of them. So this house, is it base game? Because base game means no packs, but there's no custom content used in it. And actually I do use a lot of base game furniture because that's where a lot of the simple stuff is, and Sims 2 was either, the things in The Sims 2 was either very simple or absolutely insane. So I've got the very simple stuff covered. The roof was one of the hardest parts because not many people are taking that many pictures and showcasing the roof in their videos, and also it's a little bit insane, but I think I got it right. It's this part of the front that's confusing. Like, why are these little two things on the side like that? Why can you see the wall behind them, I don't know. Ask whoever made the house in The Sims 2. I think I got it right. For reference, every time the video pauses, I'm going back to look at the pictures, or sometimes, in some cases, I think like right there, I was actually looking up YouTube videos trying to find people showcasing the house. This part of the roof also doesn't make sense to me. I do change the material later because I'm very sure it's a more black marble material in The Sims 2. Honestly, my least favorite part about this build remains the chimney, because there are no good chimneys in The Sims 4. I would like to know what is up with this chimney selection. None of them match anything but the extremely ugly, boring bricks from base game. None of them. And there's no like plain colored ones either. So the chimney was necessary, but I'm aware how horrifically ugly it is. Here I'm doing the fences because if in The Sims 2, they have the sidewalk and then the garbage can and the mailbox on the outside. I don't even think you can move those. They're not part of your lot. And so to recreate that, I ended up moving everything backwards by a space to make it part of the lot. I was also trying to mimic the texture of the ground. Sims 2 had a lot more actual grass texture and much brighter colors, which I couldn't totally replicate here, but I did my best, keeping in mind I am filming this for Machinima, so at best, you're gonna see it for like 10 seconds. And as of right now, it's only a TikTok Machinima, so you're not even gonna see widescreen. One of the other things that kind of made me mad is I was trying to replicate in The Sims 2 the emptiness, the vacant nothing behind all the lots, where it's just grass and not even any other buildings, because in The Sims 2 Pleasant View, there's no houses behind the Goth's house. However, I guess unsurprisingly, there are no lots like that in The Sims 4, so I just eventually went with this one because there was no water and there was no buildings, and I said, that's as good as it gets. It's at this point that I realize, oh, they have a backyard, and it's not just an empty lot, so I'm putting in the graveyard that exists, which I assume has real graves in The Sims 2, because from what I remember, everybody who had a graveyard, like Olive Spectre, had actual graves, but I just used decorative ones. And there's also in The Sims 2, they have the wedding set up in the back, because when you start the game, Cassandra's getting married to Dawn. I didn't include that because the Machinima I'm making takes place before Cassandra ages up to an adult. But it's literally just a wedding arch and chairs, so it would be pretty easy to add. It is also at this point, you will note some of my counting begins to not be that great. You can see here the path in the back is off. If you're wondering what I was doing in that pause, it was me realizing I'd messed that up and proceeding to decide to ignore it. Also, with the move objects cheat where you can raise objects, I have a camera angle saved to the 9 button, and I know that there's a way to unsave it, but I don't know it off the top of my head, and I was too lazy to disrupt my recording to check at that point, so you will see that happen a couple other times in the video. My bad. I'm dumb. You saw me there. That's not what the path to the graveyard looks like in The Sims 2, but I messed up the counting and could not be bothered to fix it, so that it is what it is. We're getting pretty close to being done the outside. It's at this point I'm putting the windows in. And as I'm putting the windows in, you'll notice here, I'm starting to realize maybe I messed up. A dawning realization. Just a little tiny voice in the back of my head says, I don't think I counted that right. I don't think this is right. Because when I was trying to do the spacing for the house, none of the pictures I had the grid on it. So it was just me guessing in the inside. Because the outside was easy because the fences all are 1 block by 1 block and you can see where the grid block starts and ends. Not so easy on the inside. It was just guessing. And yes, I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. At this point, I'm still deluding myself in the build. I've put stuff down and the main floor is looking okay. Okay enough for me to be like, maybe I didn't mess it up, right? Maybe this is fine. Putting the doors in and these 4 windows in the dining room really boosted my confidence. I was like, no, I got this. I did not, in fact, have it. But it makes the house look more empty, and the house already looks empty, so what are you gonna do about it, you know? This is also another thing that I struggled with. The wood colors in The Sims 2 and The Sims 4 are so different, and they're so much more fun in The Sims 2, while also being more ugly. But everything in the goth household is this really bright orange wood. I don't know what wood you would call it, but does not exist in The Sims 4. So in the entryway, I went with mahogany, but there's also the decorative shaped floorboards don't come in that color, so it's not an exact match. Another thing I was struggling with is the wallpaper. In the Goth household in The Sims 2, they've got this really dope paneled pattern, vibrant wallpaper that does not exist in The Sims 4 because fun's not allowed. So in the living room, I prioritized the paneling because I thought the paneling really looked good. In the dining room, they also have a paneled wallpaper with a pattern on top. However, there is essentially no green paneling that is saturated except the one I used in the living room. Or I don't have it. I didn't want to use the same wallpaper, so I prioritized the panel instead. That's why we used that vampire stuff. The kitchen is the only place where I'm like, yeah, okay, I got that. I got that down. The kitchen looks pretty decent. It's as I'm doing the second floor that I finally agree with myself and come to terms and accept the fact that I did not count the exterior of the building correctly. You can see me counting there again. I didn't want to redo everything. It would have been such a pain. I could have done it, didn't want to, so the house is just a little bit bigger than it is in The Sims 2. Also to note, while I think the colors in the original house are very ugly, I am very disappointed in the fact that they do not have the same ugly neon carpet in what I assume is Cassandra's room in The Sims 2 in The Sims 4. That was as close as I could get. That gross, old, dusty green. Like, come on. In The Sims 2, if you have a staircase up to the roof, I guess it just doesn't affect the rest of your house. I could not figure out a way to have the staircase go to the roof and not have that make the rest of the building be outside. Maybe there's a way to do that. If there is, I don't know what it is. Again, not a pro builder, so I don't think I just did it, but eventually I settled for just putting the staircase up there and then putting a wall in the middle. So the top floor isn't identical to The Sims 2, I'll totally admit. Here I started putting in the lighting. Also, I realized I hadn't put in doors yet. So this is the lighting / doors section. And man, is the ambient lighting in The Sims 2 insane. Or what I assume is the ambient lighting. I've never noticed it before. But the Goth household is so bright in The Sims 2. Meanwhile, there might as well not be lights in this build. I'll be honest. I didn't put any extra ones. Probably will for filming. But just based totally off The Sims 2 household, there's not enough light for most of the rooms in this house. This is the part where I realized it might be a little bit harder than I thought to simply pretend I didn't mess up. They've got that, the fireplace built out into the living room in The Sims 2 that I could not properly set up because I made that room too big. I'm still baffled as to why, well, number one, that cocktail light made it to The Sims 4 from The Sims 2, and two, why that's in Cassandra's room at all. Because I assume that's Cassandra's room, because there's the master bedroom, there's the yellow bedroom, there's the blue bedroom. The blue bedroom is obviously Alexander's, because it's got kids' toys in it. So then the yellow and green bedroom, for some reason, is Cassandra's? I don't get it. Also, all the bathrooms are so massive in this build. Well, yeah, this is my fix to the outdoor lighting thing. It's super ugly, I know, but there was nothing happening on that floor anyway. It's literally just an easel, so if you're so smart, fix it yourself. Here's the part where I actually start decorating, which is the shortest part of the video. I apologize for that. I know my favorite part of speed builds is watching people put furniture in. But there's no furniture in the Goth's house. For rich people, they have surprisingly little furniture. The longest part is just trying to find swatches that match. Here again, you're gonna see my messed up camera, raising cheat, apologies. At least sped up, it's not as horrible as it is in-game. Picking counters was also hard because there's no fun counter swatches in The Sims 4 except for the one counter on the far right there where they've got the super colorful options, but then they don't look like counters. Like in The Sims 2 Goth Kitchen, to me it looked like they had bright orange wood bottom and then a green countertop. Like, I want that. Here I'm trying to find a replacement for the phone that's on that counter in their household, and I know logically that there's no reason for there to be landlines in The Sims 4 because everybody has cell phones these days, and in-game every sim has a cell phone in their inventory, but I have to admit I really miss them. I loved using the landlines in The Sims 2. That was one of my favorite things. It was just so fun. I don't know. The dining room also pained me. Some of it that's my fault because I made it too big, but there's literally nothing in here. It's a table, 4 chairs, and a painting on the wall. Like, there's not even a decorative shelf, there's not a sculpture, there's nothing. There's also no brick fireplaces, and I will admit that one actually pissed me off because I love brick fireplaces. I have one, and I hate that there isn't any in The Sims except this one option, which doesn't look like the Goth households one at all. Sometimes you just gotta make choices and live with them though. Like, look how dark this living room is. There's one light in this living room and it's the candles on the wall. And that's it. And yet somehow in The Sims 2 you can see everything in the pictures. This bedroom also made me feel bad because it is smaller than both of the kids' bedrooms because of my own mistake. There are surprisingly few just wooden bed frames in The Sims 4, I find, at least with my packs. Like, sometimes I just want a plain mattress with a wooden bed frame, and that's not something you're allowed to have in this game. Also, there are very few one-block bookcases, so that one should have been fancier, but you gotta do what you gotta do. The bedside table that's in that room in The Sims 2 is the octagonal one, or a hexagonal. I don't know how many sides it has, but I'm so intimately familiar with that bedside table because it was one of the cheapest options, and I remember using it constantly in my houses in The Sims 2, even though I kind of hated it. This room's also the worst. Again, like, how does this show Cassandra's personality in the slightest? Yellow and green, totally empty, single bed. I don't get it. We're in the home stretch. This is Alexander's bedroom, which was at least a little bit easier, although there's none of the fun kid mattress swatches in The Sims 4 that I loved in The Sims 2. Like, he's got, I think, the vehicles one, the cars. He also has a very empty bedroom and also has an ensuite. Like, I get that it's attached to the hallway too, but how come he has a door to a bathroom and Cassandra doesn't? Once these 2 bathrooms are done, the only other thing I need to do is put an easel upstairs. So yeah, home stretch here, man. I will upload this to the gallery eventually. I currently still have to update my game, but when I do finally update my game, I'll upload it to the gallery.
Rlly.